On the board behind me here, I have put up the curriculum/exam layout of the Leaving Cert Higher Level Irish exam. And what I want to talk to you today about is a couple of things that I know is a huge bugbear of students. And one of the things myself, many years ago when I was in school, was I hated starting a topic and not knowing why I was doing it. So I think it's really important for students to know what exactly is on their course, maybe more importantly, what's on their exam, and why am I doing the stuff that I'm doing. So today I'm going to walk you through very briefly what's on the board behind me, and I'm going to make sure by the end of this 5-6 minute clip that you know exactly what's on your exam and you have every confidence that you could explain this to anyone else around you. So let's start off with paper 1. Makes the most sense. First number. Paper 1 is 160 marks, and you're going to see why I put the marks in here in a minute. There's no point saying I have an essay or I have a piece of prose or I have a piece of poetry to do. That's not helpful. When we're looking at exams, especially in 6th year, we need to put an emphasis on the things that are worth more than others. So as we see here, everything in blue beside, let's say, paper 1, Screwed Bail or paper 2, has the marks for the overall exam itself, and then underneath it I've given the breakdown of where they actually come from. So with that in mind, paper 1. On paper 1, you have 2 questions, but 1 real written question. You're going to start off with a Clues Tishkin down here. Your Clues Tishkin is your oral. You listen to somebody, well, numerous people talk for 20 odd minutes, 22 minutes, and you have to answer questions as you go through the section. All right? So anytime you're doing oral work in school, when you're listening to something on a tape or on a CD player, whatever that may be, you're working towards your oral mark. The oral tape itself is the same for both higher and for ordinary level. So certain parts of it actually aren't relevant to what you're doing there. It's not just for the higher level students. There's also stuff there for the ordinary level. Hence why it takes 22 minutes instead of getting it done in like 12 or 13. Because there's a lot of information. Not all of it is relevant to what your answers need. The next one, and the big one, is the Ashta or the D-Sport. And there's also a scale. But to be honest, 99.99999% of people do either the Ashta or the D-Sport. No one does the scale. It's quite a difficult question to do. So you have a choice of 5 essays, or either a D-Sport or an orad, a speech or a debate. So what are these going to be about? It's not like a junior cert level anymore where it's, write about a story or something like that. You're writing about topics that would be in the news. So if you think about what's in the news today, take a second, think about it. What's been in the news? And whatever has been dominating the news at this very moment in time, there's probably a very good chance that that'll be one of the options that come up in your exam. So they're the topical ones. There's also ones historically that seem to come up again and again and again. And because we're teaching here so long, because I'm teaching so long, when we are doing classes, I go through the topics that come up again and again and again. So there's 2 ways to really look at this. The topical essays that come up that year because they were in the news around the time the exam was made, and also the ones that historically come up year in, year out. All right, so that's your paper 1, 160 marks. So as you can see, there's a huge amount of marks there for the essay, and that's worth 16.7%. Let's follow me over here to paper 2. Paper 2, we start off with the reading comprehensions, 100 marks. There are 2 of them at 50 marks each. They are both equal, and we have to do both. With these, I love these questions because they're copy and paste. 5 of the 6 questions, so there's 6 questions in the reading comprehension. 5 of the 6 of them are copy and paste. Find the answer in the piece and just write it down on the paper. So there's no studying involved. Yes, you practice during the year to get good technique, to get better at them, but you don't learn anything off by heart. Just copy and paste, and that happens twice. And again, look at the marks, 100 marks, 17% nearly of your exam done for copy and pasting. Prose, it's actually prose in English. Not many people have heard that word, I find, with students. Think of them as short stories, short films, short stories. You have 5 of them to study in your course. You will answer 1 on the day of the exam. So 5 on the course, 1 will come up, a 30-mark question, and you will answer 1 of them on the day of your exam. 9 times out of 10, you're dealing with characters from those short stories. It's usually 1 question. Sometimes I'll give you 3 short questions and you answer 2, but it's obvious on the day of the exam you'll be able to see that, and as the year goes on, you'll get plenty of practice. Poetry, again, 5 poems on your course. You answer on 1, and there's 3 short questions on it. You answer all 3 questions on the poetry section. Okay, so 5 to study, answer 1. This is the same for every student in Ireland. Your school is no different to any other school. We all do the same Irish course. And finally, the extra literacy question on Literacy Fresha. What do we have here? Well, this is the only choice question we really have for Leaving Cert Irish. There's about 5 or 6 different options. The 3 most popular options are on Trial, which is a drama. You have a choice of doing 5 more poems, so 5 there plus another 5 down here. And finally, a hig not hit term is another one, which is like an autobiography. So there's 6 options. Most people do one of those 3. And again, me personally, I like doing the drama. I find it's been on the course for over 30 years. So again, it's very easy to predict and it's very easy to help students do well in it. So there are your 2 written papers. That's what you're spending the majority of the year working towards. But before any of that happens, we have this thing up here on Screw du Bail. And with the Screw du Bail, you've got 4 aspects to it. First aspect is your fáilte and your Irish na Filiochta. Now remember, this is a common level exam. It doesn't matter if you're higher or ordinary level, you do an Irish oral and you all get the same marks. You're graded the same. So it's probably unfair for ordinary level and it gives you guys a great advantage. First 2 are really simple. Fáilte, you need 5 points of information. Name, age, date of birth, address and exam number. 5 points, 5 set questions the examiner will ask you. 2, Irish na Filiochta, the reciting of the poetry. I told you up here, you have 5 poems to study, you answer on 1. During the oral, the examiner will ask you to read 1 of the 5 poems out. You'll have the poem in front of you, you have the lyric, you don't need to learn it off, and you can write anything you want on the page to help you pronounce the words. It's like a performance. Then we go on to the Cert, the free conversation. We say freeze and anything could come up. Not really. There's a certain amount of topics that come up. Again, you start with your basics, where you're from, your family, your area, and then depending on how good you are, I'm an Irish oral examiner, so I can let you in on this, that depending on how good your answers are, we'll start to ask questions that become slightly more difficult, and we bring you to a place where we feel that you can talk, but you're being a little bit stretched. So sometimes people say, oh, I got asked hard topics. That's a good thing, very positive. Last one is on Trap Pictures, the picture sequences. With the picture sequences, it's very, very simple. All you have to do, guys, is learn your picture sequences. There's 20 of them on the course each year. You'll be asked to read 1 out and you'll be asked to describe what happens in that picture. And again, that's worth 80 marks. All right, here's a little tip for you. Common error is everyone in school spends their time on this and on this, the prose and the poetry. There's 10 to do. On average, they take a week to 2 weeks to do. So you look at that 20 weeks of school and we spend so much time sweating, so much time getting anxious and getting nervous over these 2 questions because there's 10 bits to prepare. Look at the marks and look at this very carefully. There's only 30 marks for the poems and 30 marks for the prose. What I want you to do as a tip, and think of this whenever you're doing your Irish course, and this is the most important thing I'll say to you today after getting an understanding. Your essay, your Screw du Bail, and your reading comprehensions. If we put those together, 100, 240 and 100. Put those together, you get 440. Up here at the top, your exam's at a 600. You stick that together, you divide your 440 into your 600, you get 73.3%. So nearly 74% of your exam, nearly 73.3% of your exam is based off 1, 2, 3 questions. So when you're looking at where should I invest my time, what should I do, what should I be studying, you have 3 areas to focus on. Your paper 1 essay or debate, your Irish oral, and finally your reading comprehensions. If you do nothing else on the paper and get a H1 in those 3 questions, full marks in those 3 questions, you'll get a H3 in Irish without attempting anything else in the paper. That's not my advice. Attempt all questions, do them all. We want higher than that. But they're your 3 key questions, all right? So I hope now you have a better understanding of what's involved, what do you have to do, and maybe more importantly, where do you need to focus your time. Okay, thanks for listening. Hope you found it helpful.